This Story is a documentary podcast powered by the Institute of Documentary Film. You can find news from the world of film on all the common platforms such as iTunes, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, as well as on docweb.net.
Good evening, dear viewers, and thank you very much for joining us tonight. My name is Dominik Vontor, and I'm coordinator of KineDok in Czech Republic. KineDok is an international community-driven distribution project that is organized by Institute of Documentary Film. The project serves as a platform for gathering the film enthusiasts, community audience, filmmakers, and experts to celebrate the best of Eastern European and Central European documentary industry. Definitely check out our social medias, Instagram and Facebook. We have wonderful events and venues in all our partner countries, which are Slovakia, Czech Republic, Hungary, Croatia, and Romania. It's also worth keeping an eye on our website, kinedok.net, so you don't miss any of our wonderful events. Today's international discussion is following up the screening of the film Push and Pull. If you haven't seen the film yet, please ask for the link for free screening in our Facebook direct message. For those who are watching this discussion live, do not forget to ask your question in the comment section below this very video because we are going live, so you can ask the questions. Now let me introduce the host of today's evening. It's Mr. Bob Kartous, an expert on educational advancement in the Czech Republic. I wish you a very inspiring discussion, and Bob, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dominik, for your introduction. Again, I'm Bob Kartous. I'm a CEO at Prague Innovation Institute, which is an organization which goal is to help to create more effective, innovative ecosystem in the area of the capital of Prague in Czech Republic, and as well as to help to push forward some innovations in education system here in Prague. And I am a regular commentator of the situation of in education area and education policy for the Czech media for a few years, more than a few years. And it's my pleasure to moderate today's discussion. And it is my pleasure to introduce also our guests, our special guests, which are Sorana Stanescu, independent journalist from Romania, and Zrinka Dedić, who is director at Center for Education Research and Development. And I would like to ask you primarily to add something to your personal expertise and to your work and how it is relating to the content of the movie Push and Pull.
Who will start?
Maybe Zrinka, because you are a Croatian.
maybe you should name the first speaker, Bob. It would be easier, probably.
Yes, thank you, Zrinka, because you are Croatian.
Yes, as the film is from Croatia, maybe I'm the first to start. I'm Zrinka, I'm scientist, educational scientist from Institute of Social Research in Zagreb, from department which is called Center for Educational Research and Development. By my education, I'm psychologist, but we are working on interdisciplinary field of educational research. Currently, we are working on a large-scale national project of monitoring effects of pandemic and earthquakes that hit Croatia last year. But before that, we were working on a large longitudinal project of monitoring educational aspirations of kids in primary and lower secondary education. This was the project when we also following educational experiences on a daily basis of our pupils. And this is something related to the film content, because we were talking to parents and children and also to teachers about their daily life and their school life. And we were able to see how this frees perspectives were quite different when we talk about how to prepare homework, how to manage all the content of the school subjects.
Yeah, thank you, Zrinka, for your introduction yourself. And for the same, I would like to ask you, Sorana, now.
Hi, and thank you for the kind introduction. I'm Sorana Stanescu. I'm a journalist based in Bucharest. I work for DOR, which is an independent media organization. We do print, we put out online stories as well. We have several newsletters, we do live storytelling events. So we are quite diverse in that sense. I have been covering education as a reporter and also as an editor for the magazine for the past it's more than 3 years. I think it's 4 or 5 years now, with some breaks in between when I coordinated other projects. But I have always had education in the back of my mind, and I have always followed the big changes happening in our educational policies, and of course the changes that the pandemic has brought, and which are not the best changes, unfortunately. So I'm not an expert, unlike you guys. I was actually taking notes as Zrinka was mentioning their current study on researching the effects of the pandemic and earthquakes, and I might get back to her on that after tonight's discussion. My connection to the film, well, it's there. First, I think my deepest and strongest feeling towards the film was about my own experience of being a student and of doing homework, and of my mother trying to help me with my homework, even though that was quite a while ago, back in the 90s. But still, it's a common experience that we all relate to. And now going back to my journalist's role, yes, we have covered the topic of the workload and the extra homework, the too much homework that here in Romania, at least, pupils have, and what their effect is on their mental state, on their well-being, on their happiness, actually. And yeah, I look forward to speaking more about that.
Yeah. Thank you too for your introduction. And we should, at the very start of the discussion, make a really brief introduction also to the document itself, because we cannot expect that all viewers, all of people from our audience had a chance to watch it. So, and it is very, very important, because as you mentioned it, it is about the school, about the parenting, about the homeworks, and it is almost all of the content of the document. It could seemingly to be considered as boring, but it's not boring. Yeah, the document itself is a deep and a very immersive insight into the life of one family, which is really highly distressed with something like homework from the school, because all from the content of this document is about homework, about Neva, which is really capable, intelligently capable young girl, which is absolutely unable to be motivated to do the homework, to follow these appointments from the school, and which is obviously absolutely nonsensing everything what is coming from the school. And the film is about the impact of this situation on the whole family from the very start to the very end of this document. We made a list of questions we would like to go through in the discussion today evening, but I suddenly a bit changed the script, because I would like to ask you, you, Sorana, said you have your personal experience. How do you remember your own childhood when it comes to those situations like a homework and school and the relationships to the school and to the education system? Zrinka, can you start, please?
I would say that this film did not resonate with my personal experience as a pupil, but it did resonate with me being a parent, maybe unfortunately, because I have a specific situation with my daughter is actually having an attention deficit disorder. Mm-hmm. So this film was very convincing to me, because I have really feeling of this family drama and tensions which is happening all the time in Neva's family. And this was quite similar to what is happening in our home when our daughter was young, and we also have to help her on the daily basis with her homework. And I would say this film language of this film is very convincing, because the whole film is located only inside a family's flat, and we see this daily life, but all family dynamics is dominated by this homework, and it takes quite a lot to finish this homework, and it goes on and goes on, and you really feel these tensions and this family drama that is happening on a daily basis. And the characters are really realistic. I can say that you cannot find better actors than Neva's family, and this is all making the whole film very, very, very realistic and convincing, I would say.
Yeah. You are talking also from my own position, because during watching the film, I permanently thought about the situation when we try with my younger son to make up all those appointments from the school. And in few weeks ago, I lost my nerve really strongly, and it was really similar to some situation in the film where we have to say honestly that parents are very, very kind and very calm in almost all those situations during the film. Yeah, but as you said, it is remembering also my own parenting problems, which I honestly need to say to myself that it happens.
It's interesting to say this is obviously middle-class family where parents are very into education. It's visible that they value education and they want their girls to succeed in a school system, and they're trying really to be nice, polite, and to go everything to go smoothly, but they lose temper almost on a daily basis, and that was also something that it was funny at times to see that other mothers and fathers also, are pissed off at times, and that I'm not the only one who was crazy at times.
I apologized today to my younger son for my behavior a few weeks ago, and I think this document can help also other parents to do the same. Sorana, two questions in one: your childhood and your parenting, if you are a parent.
I'll start with the second one because the answer is short and quick. I'm not a parent, so I can't. I don't have that experience. I did mention my experience as a student many years ago. I must admit I was kind of the geeky one, so I liked school. I liked reading. I liked studying. You didn't have to put on a fight to make me do my homework. But there was one particular subject that I dreaded. That was calligraphy that we studied in the second grade, and that's where the film brought me back to. My mother was sitting next to me and very patiently trying to teach me how to very beautifully write the letters and all of that, and I was not patient enough. And they would look bad, and then I would tear off the page and start over again. And that was probably my most the one memory that most resembles the film. But there's something else which that the film reminded me of. It's something that came up quite recently in a discussion, in an interview I had with an education expert, a lady who also runs an organization that helps vulnerable communities and the schools in vulnerable communities. And she had the experience of teaching a third primary school pupils, and she told me that in that particular community, but it's not uncommon. She told me that when the kids reached third grade, only 4 of the in the class had parents who could still keep up with the lessons and with the homework, because the rest did not themselves had the necessary understanding to help them with homework. And that seemed just horrible, because you can only imagine that those children are left behind unless they have a very dedicated school and teachers to go back to.
Okay.
And I would also like to add that our studies shows that this parental involvement in education is a contemporary phenomenon. In our, at least in our country, parents were not so much involved in children's daily life and education before. In past period, this is something relatively new and related to this higher educational aspirations and the position that education has in the society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. This is very important. It should be very important part of our discussion, because what we can see in document, those parents of Neva, mother and father, they are very initiative. They make a lot for help Neva to make a success in the school. We can see parents who evidently, obviously, see education as a very important, and also we can expect that they are educated, because, as Sorana said, that only few parents are able to meet those appointments from school when the children overcome some border of third or fourth grade. Those parents of Neva, they are capable to do it, but we can see sometimes that mother or father, they have a problem to do it without some external help, calculator and internet and so on. But in general, how you can see the problem of the parents who are not capable to help their children. What is coming after that? Can we see the less aspiration education? Can we see more failing children in education? What we can see? What we can expect?
In our system, the private tutoring is also blooming because of the reason that parents cannot serve as a secondary educator to their kids, especially in a upper secondary level. So they are using the services of private tutor enormously to fill the gaps in knowledge and to prepare for the exams. They're important for pupils to be able to compete with others in this whole, race. So this is something that is serving the function of what school should have been doing, because obviously this function of the school of providing additional support for kids who are failing or cannot meet the requirements of the system, this system is not working properly.
I would say the same. We also have the private tutoring market, because it's a market, to put it simply. But that only goes for families who can afford that, right? Because it's just out of the pocket money that you pay every week, so that your child can have an extra English, maybe language, private tutoring, math is always probably the most popular that children need help with. And again, as they grow and as the big and important exams come up, then of course the private tutoring intensifies, and that only adds even more pressure and more workload on the families and on the students. What I would like to see happening, and it's starting, but they are very, very small and rare initiatives, is literacy programs and more individualized, personalized teaching, right? Because in a class of 25, of course, there are no two children the same, and their understanding level and their literacy levels will be very different, and you can't have only one teacher for 25 children. So that's why I would really like to see in Romanian schools at least 2 teachers teaching each class and working separately with at least groups of students, if not one-to-one. And also these literacy programs and remedial programs that could help children speed up and get up to date if possible. So these are potential solutions that could more make the system more balanced, but they cost money, and that means extra resources, extra teachers that we either don't have or we do have but we can't afford to pay in a very centralized educational system such as the one in Romania.
Yeah, okay. If I can contribute with my or experience from Czech Republic, it's sometimes a really similar situation, especially when it comes to the periods before the so-called high-stakes exams. That means especially admission exams at the high schools or the universities in Czech Republic. Very often children or young people are looking for the tutoring or for some extra training or preparations for the admission exams. And very often it is also the question of the economic standard of the family, because not all can reach to the all-inclusive training for that. And it is of course, some strengthening economic and social inequalities in Czech Republic. What I know about the situation in societies like South Korea, where the social pressure on the children is very, very high, it led to the establishing of police department, which is responsible for monitoring of those how to say it, unlaw attempts to help children to get better results in school and in exams. That means that it is so serious, this social pressure, that that the state took a step to overtake a control in the situation with the police, together with the law enforcement. Okay, let's step to other questions which the document inflicted. But before it, I would like to ask you for your personal impressions for the document when you watched that, because this is kind of the really immersive probe into the family life. What was the first impression which came up to you from the watching this document, Zrinka?
I feel sorry for Neva most of the time, because I think that it was visible there is some kind of tyranny of the system over a child, because our system is still very traditional in the sense that it's teacher oriented, not children oriented, and it's more oriented toward receiving information that are not relevant for kids at the moment. You've seen in this film when Neva is learning about the territorial division of a country or stuff like that. She does not even know the vocabulary that was in the definitions. This is very clear that what she was learning was not something that was important to her. And I think that's what the problem, because of course she was bored with that material. And our whole school is such that there is a fixed content that you have to learn by rote learning. There's nothing creative in this process. And it was nice to see how mother and father are trying to force her to do it as quickly as possible, just to finish it. They were at the end not worrying about the quality of her work. They want her just to finish, to close the books and go to park or to go to sleep or something else. And that is also, characteristic of the system, where this memorization is the whole focus of the system. There is not something that you are developing your, critical skills or creativity or some higher levels of cognitive functioning. It is just memorization and reproduction of the fact that was told by the teacher. And this is something which is really worrying, and what we are trying to change for decades now, but the process is really slow.
Yeah, there's very interesting to follow mother of Neva, which is sometimes trying to use all the parental authority to pursue her daughter to learn it, and in some situations she resignated and blaming the school for the bad system and for the bad work. But it's not clear what is the real feeling, or what is the real opinion of the mother, according to me.
I think that parents are having this, like protection element when they do not want to frankly say what they think about school system to kids, because they want kids they want to motivate kids and to convey the message that education and school is important, and they're trying to protect, the system as much as possible, while imposing to kids that they have to put more effort, not be lazy and stuff like that. But in the subtext, it's clear that mothers and father are blaming the system also for all these stupid, facts and everything that kids should have learned.
So, Sorana, what was your first and or more strongest feeling?
Well, definitely the strongest feeling I was left with is frustration, right? Of everyone in that family, of the parents struggling to help her and get her motivated, on the girl of having to do this each and every day with no real passion for it, even of the sister. And I would like to have seen more of the sister, actually. What's her relationship to the same homework or whatever, similar homework? Because she's obviously into music and orchestra and choir practice. She feels more calm about everything. I don't see that tension that the other three have with the school. So I would have really liked to see more of the sister and her relationship with school and homework and workload. Yeah, and then I was actually after half, sorry to interrupt you, but after half of the film, I was really wondering what the ending will be like. Because you start to get frustrated yourself, right? And you either wish for the, I don't know, school to finish or homework to be canceled or the girl to just drop school because it's not making anyone happy.
It's like never-ending story, and you have a feeling they're like mouses trapped and running in the wheel. And there's every day is the same. Even weekends are not something that they can enjoy. They said that cannot go to some villages on excursions because they have to learn. So this is something really showing that
it's this burden you carry with you every day, and it's not ending. And definitely not ending soon, judging by her age.
And it was interesting to see when Mama says that when there are gonna be holidays, she will take break off from work and sleep all day to rest from the school.
And she will take extra holiday to sleep and relax. Yes, I think that the director, I'm suspicious the director purportedly started with the document in the same way as he or she ended it. It was like it was a message. It's never ending. It's eternal. Yeah, and also what Sorana said is very important to maybe to know more about the family and more about Neva. We cannot say if she has kind of the attention disorder or if it is only so boring for her because she's so intelligent but she is so directed to another interest like playing guitar, like make kind of the craft works or make something else than what is school pushing to her. Yeah. So we cannot judge. We just can see situations which some of us well know from our own lives. Okay. Maybe the next question could direct our discussion to the distress and to the motivation, because we can see in the film that, as I said, Neva, this girl, is absolutely demotivated to do anything to the school, and this stress is permanent. Yeah, it's like that she has no chance to step over the border of the distress, yeah, to escape from it. And what we only can see is kind of the exit strategy, yeah, escape to the digital world, yeah, to the mobile phone and to the tablet and to the world of digital game, or absolute reluctance to do anything. Yeah. What about that? What about the situations which finally can push the small girl, small child to the kind of the living setup, to permanent looking for the exit strategy in the whole life, and what it means for our societies if some huge percentage of young people will try to find kind of the exit because they feel that society is pressing them somewhere they want to be. Zrinka.
I would say that definitely she's struggling with the system, and as you said, we don't know whether she has some problem, like, you know, like you said, attention deficit or something. But I guess that in other system, in the system where school will be more responsive to individual pupils' needs, she would be much happier. And this is something that really worries me, that our system is oriented towards some imaginary average student that actually does not exist. There is no diversification, there is no individualization in the system. System is requiring the same thing from the same students. And this is really something that is not good. And what you said, these exit strategies, actually survival strategies. She has to protect herself from, you know, this attack on the system. And that's something that is really normal. It's not good that she is escaping to, you know, mobile phone and playing games or something else the whole time, but it's really understandable that she cannot spend whole of the free time making homework. And
well, yeah, as you said, Bob, these exit strategies, it's just worrisome and tragic, actually, if that's what school does to children. If they start connecting the school with the feeling of that's a place or a system I want to get out of as soon as possible, that's absolutely dramatic, I think. And probably a way we could, or the systems, schools in general could cut that, is by making the contents relevant to our lives, right? To reality. Finding that missing link between what you're taught in school and your real life and your skills needed to live your life properly. And this only reminds me of something, again, an education expert told me recently. In Romania, probably as in your countries, over the past few years, there have been several attempts to modernize the curriculum and to bring them in this day and age as they should have been a long time ago. Unfortunately, this process, as Zrinka said, takes a lot of time. It's very complex, and it needs continuity, right? So if you've changed the mindset and the framework of content and the curriculum in the first grade, you should just follow it up throughout the high school and until you finish high school. That link is broken in Romania. For example, the children who are now in high school have had a new curriculum for the first 8 years, but something went wrong, and now during high school they are studying according to the old system and the old curriculum. So that's one thing. There's no continuity of the framework. And another thing is that we keep adding to it, right? We keep adding extra subjects, extra contents that are indeed relevant to life as it is, as we live it, but we're not taking anything out. At least not in Romania. No subject, as far as I know, has been dropped and acknowledged as this is not relevant anymore, or we should only keep this small part of it, integrate it in another subject and move on. No, everything just adds up. And yeah, that's how you end up with situations like the one in the film.
And this is also something that is happening in Croatia. When I was a student, we have textbooks with, I don't know, 100 pages. Now the normal handbook for kids in 6th grade is 200 pages. Like everything is condensed and multiplied. As knowledge in our world is multiplied, so is the textbooks. And kids are definitely feel this overload of the subjects, of the content, but also there is a pressure related to the entrance into requirements related to the entrance to upper secondary education. In Croatia, to enter to gymnasium, you basically have to have all A's. You should really be perfect student to enter good gymnasium. So there is some, perception that to succeed in life, you have to follow the same path. To be best in your primary school, to enter good gymnasium, later go on university and so on. So kids feel the pressure from early age on, because during the whole lower secondary education, what you get as final grades counts for your entrance to gymnasium. It's really stressful for kids to know that the grade they have in Croatian language in 5th grade is very important for their future. So this is also the burden they feel, and something that they are really, and parents are also not consciously always, but subconsciously they are conveying this message of worry and frustration and this high level aspirations.
Marks and high stakes make the pressure in the education system. It is the most important thing, because besides it doesn't matter about the curriculum, about the content of curriculum. What is important is what is the content of the high stake test, and this is what is pushing teachers to do something like you need to remember all those things from math or from your mother language or from English, because you need to make it to the better grade, because this is your way to the next level in education system. We know it. We try, some of the progressive people in Czech Republic try to push politicians to understand this principle, that if you change the content and all the design on the high stakes exams, admission exams, you can make a very quick change in the education system. But this is, if you compare it with the change in the curriculum itself, or the change in the training of the teachers and lifelong education of teachers, is much easier to do that. But it is still, even this is very hard step for the change in education policy in Czech Republic. But I hope with new government we will able to more do now in Czech Republic. But my last question, because after that we will switch to the questions from the audience. My last personal question is about the motivation, because There is one really bright moment in the document, the moment when mother is talking to Neva and asking her how it is possible. You cannot remember this. When we was strolling, walking around the city and eating the ice cream, you remembered everything from your math homework. Yeah. Now it is not possible. How it is possible? And there was a response. There was a reply. It was about the motivation, because girl was in a special moment more motivated to do something, and it was kind of the blind spot of those parents. I understood it in this way. What you, Zrinka and Sorana?
That is related to the fact that I think parents are thinking that Neva is clever girl, but she lacks motivation for learning, and they're trying to instill this idea that school is important and they should find some energy and action in her own world. And I have the same feeling that they try to understand how when something is important to her and something irrelevant work, she can learn and she can strive. But when something is boring and unrelated to her own life, this is something that is really hard for her.
Sorana?
Well, I can't say there were many moments when the parents were trying to motivate her. I didn't really find that. It was more like, this is homework, you have to do it. This is school, you have to go to school. We all did it. There's no other way. So yeah, to be honest, if there were such moments when the parents were trying to instill some motivation, I missed them. Probably because the frustration that Neva was feeling, and that I was feeling as well as a viewer, were too strong. So yeah, I missed those. But yeah, probably the connection to real life and trying to bring those contents and concepts and whatever into real life and things around her, that might work as a motivator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is absolutely right. It looks like parents are not able to motivate her, but there was this moment when mother is describing the situation when Neva is motivated to do something to the school, and perfectly. Yeah.
But there was also a moment, a reaction came out of frustration. It was like, why could you, in that moment when we were having a walk and we were eating ice cream, why is it that you then could remember everything and understand, but none in the rest? So that was still, there was no particular explanation of the mother there.
It seems like,
but at the end of the film, mother praised Neva for perfectly reciting the songs and said something like, I couldn't do it better than you, you were so good at that. So that's kind of motivation, isn't it?
Maybe. But obviously that there is really thin border between to understand and not to understand what can help to your child to take it more seriously, to take it with higher motivation. Yeah, so very thin border. Okay, we have a few questions from the audience, and the most to the core directed question is this one. In my elementary school, the principal canceled homeworks 14 years ago. Smile. He said that as consequence, children became much more motivated to do tasks at school during classes, and overall happier because they had more time for out-of-school activities. What do you think about that practice?
this practice is also something that is happening in some schools in Croatia, and the experience are quite positive. Because there is no homework, that does not mean that kids are not learning, but homework is something that is happening in different times and in different kind of, they have some project work and some kind of shared learning with cooperative learning, peer learning events. So it's not that it's canceled altogether, but it's changed form, and it's more adaptive to kids' needs or kids' capacities. For instance, not the same homework is prescribed for all kids. This is something also that is quite interesting in our country, that homework is usually the same for all kids, no matter whether you have succeeded in the subject, you already managed to learn everything, or are you just at the beginning of the, on the beginning of the cycle. The homework is the same. And I think that this scaling of the homework and maybe allowing kids to choose their subject of the homework or to more adapt it to, their interest would really change their position towards it.
I don't have much to add to that, of course, because the outcome is not so much even as learning, but getting life skills, right? So as long as the focus is on that, the way you get there is multiple. The ways are multiple. We've obviously only been doing it in a way so far, with lots of contents and subjects and homework, but I don't think it's working anymore. So yeah, if schools and teachers come up with a different design for learning, I would definitely like to see that and the way it works and the impact it has. I'm not aware of any schools in Romania canceling homework. Best case scenario, they have the after schools integrated in the schools and children just stay longer and do their homework there, but not, other way around.
Okay, what I know from the research is that cancel homework for those children and students, young people who are success. When it comes to the school's achievement, is all right. It is not necessary to make a bigger burden for them or to limit more their out of school activities and etc. But what is obvious from the research for those pupils and students who are failing in the school, there is really important to come up with some extra help, but it shouldn't be the homework in the situation when children are coming from the communities or families where parents or the community is not able to help them, because to appoint them with homework means it is absolutely futile for them, and it is only strengthening the distress for those pupils, because the next day, tomorrow, they will come to the school without homework. Yeah, and this is a problem. So we try in the discussion in Czech Republic to point out to this fact that if you would like to help to failing children in the school, the homework itself isn't the good recipe, because you need to find way how to get people who are capable, able to help children to learn into their homes. Yeah? And I hope that we will finally make kind of the program that will make a budget for the help in the schools and help in the families, because you need to make part of it under the Ministry of Education and part of it under the Ministry for Social Affairs. So this is, I think, really important, because the percentage of the failing children coming from social, economically really low or weak conditions is pretty high. Yeah, it could be, I don't know, 20% of the children in Czech schools. Okay, we have more questions, and the second one, you have three, but the second one is also interesting. And it is asking us what we think about after-school private tutoring, and if it is demotivating children, if it's not based on their own decision, if it is decision of parents, because they have to spend time with some more stranger tutor after school by learning. And what do you think about this practice?
Our study of private tutoring shows that these lessons are very effective from kids' perspective. They think that these private tutoring lessons are something that is really helping them. Of course, if parents' decision is to attend private tutoring, it's much worse than when it's kids' decision. But basically, the effectiveness of private tutoring is higher than school's lessons effectiveness.
I have the same feeling. I had the same feeling as a student myself. Mm-hmm. Those private tutoring lessons that I took again before important exams definitely helped. So yeah, I don't really find them demotivating, because they usually do help, whether it's they help with the workload or they help with understanding. They help children understand better concepts that they didn't get right in school. So they usually work. I don't think they are demotivating. Maybe when they are too many, of course, or when the group, I don't know how it is in your countries, but in Romania you have both ways. It's one-on-one, right? The pupil, the student, and the teacher, but you can also have small groups, even up to, I don't know, 5 or 6, and then of course it becomes a bit of a mess when it's too many around the table. But if it's balanced, it usually works.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. We are at the very end of our discussion, and because the third question is thematizing homeschooling, it's a little bit of our discussion, we can say some final words. My final word is that I would like to say thank you for your contribution, Sorana and Zrinka. And I hope it will contribute to the popularity of this document, which is warmly recommended from my side to the audience. And your final words?
I would recommend watching the documentary because it's really good and showing the situation in one family.
I first want to apologize about that. There was an alarm on my phone that I completely forgot about. I would also recommend watching the film, and I would recommend teachers watching the film, and maybe thinking about how they approach homework, and if it changes their approach in any way.
I have to join your recommendation and say final goodbye.
Goodbye and thank you.
Bye.